At best, the alien abduction phenomenon is a terrifying, traumatic experience. At its worst, well, we think they sometimes take people and don't put them back.
I lost my mother and brother to this trauma. He murdered her, then killed himself.
These women are being used as human incubators, with all their children stolen away into the night.
A 6-foot-tall entity of blue-white light paralyzed me, then bent down and said into my ear, "Hi, Steve." It knew my name.
We hear gruesome stories of experiments and dissections. Imagine dying on a metal table while paralyzed, surrounded by alien faces. It's a real horror story. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our show on the Gnostic TV network. Our show is called Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection. We're your hosts. I'm Leslie Shaw, and this is Stephen Shaw.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi. We're the authors of the UFO book, Who They Are and What They're Up To. And every week on the show, we're going to share one of our personal experiences right before we introduce our terrific guest. Tonight's guest is Natasha Carlson, and we're really excited to hear from her. Tonight, we wanted to talk about an experience that happened to Stephen's mother. Natasha has had a demonic encounter herself, and so did Stephen's mother, and we wanted to bring that one up because it's so appropriate to tonight's guest. Stephen?
Yeah, I'd love to share it. This happened in 1983 in Sonora, California, during the springtime. At that point, the whole family, at the time, my brother, my mother, and my sister were all feeling very ill. And my mother also was an automatic writer, as were all the women in my family. So she was taking a nap, and she woke up from the nap and was starting to walk around, and she called it an imp, a black imp, about maybe 2 feet tall, jumped on her back and started clawing at her. And she just was yelling, "Get off me, leave me alone, get off me." So what ended up happening was the imp went away, and then the illness from my sister and brother also went away, but my mom was left with what's called a scrofula on her neck. It looks like a goiter, but it's on the side, and she never recovered from that, and she had scratches on her too. This was a very disturbing thing, to say the least.
You told me, I believe, that she described the imp as hideously ugly, right?
Yes,
in the face.
Black and ugly and making very guttural type of sounds. And really, my mom, having gone through World War II as a child, she was really scared by this. But my brother, sister, my mom all kind of came to the conclusion that there was like an evil presence at the time that was making the whole family sick. And once she said, "Get away from me and leave me alone," that the illness, at least my brother and sister, stopped.
And then she, when I met her, she had this, like a growth right here on the side of her neck was a bulge. And,
it's called a scrofula.
She had it for the rest of her life. And
yes, she never recovered from that. In fact, she ended up with a 4-stage arthritis that primarily affected her neck, and then also she basically had
Parkinson's later in life.
Later in life. And
but as I recall, she went to the doctor about this growth on her neck, and he said it's not uncommon with cat scratch fever, like something scratched her.
Yes.
It caused an infection under the skin.
Yeah, he put it down to something like that, like an animal scratch or something like that. But that was no animal scratch.
And she didn't tell him that it wasn't a cat, but a demon.
And
she decided not to go there with the doctor.
Yeah, and in a future episode, I'll relay my own encounter too. Okay.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you, Stephen.
Sure.
Well, hello, everyone. Again, I want to introduce our wonderful guest for tonight. Natasha Carlson is the host of the Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy podcast. She has been a psychic and an empathic for her whole life. At age 15, she had a face-to-face encounter with a demon, and we'll be wanting to hear all about that. And since that time, she has been seeing apparitions and heard disembodied voices. things got really intense after her first near-death experience, another subject I'm very interested to hear about. And she is drawn to darkness and mysteries and has had multiple premonitions about pregnancies and deaths. Steve is also a precog person. He's come up with several precog situations, so we'll want to hear all about that too. Welcome, Natasha.
Hi. Sorry, I got my cream soda over here.
No, that's okay. I've got my cold beverage here too. Here we go. In fact, time for a slurp.
It's not alcoholic this time, and for the first time, for everybody, well, for anybody who listens to my podcast, I'm wearing pants. I know, it's weird. It's really weird for me to pod in pants, but I'm here. I don't know if T Swizzle drinks Faygo, but she does now.
All right. So you should tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, start with how you got started in the podcast world, and a little bit more maybe about your history too.
So we laugh because when I was, always into music, I listen to music all the time and all of that stuff, and I never really listened to podcasts. And then I got a job where I worked 10 hours every day, and because of where I was at, I was not allowed to take my phone out. So I had to find something to listen to over and over and over. And I was like, well, crap, it was like the same songs all the time. So I was like, I'm going to try these podcasts. And I shout these guys out all the time. So I love them. Much love. The Kryptonaut podcast is who I started with. And I mean, I blew through all of their episodes. No shame. I have listened to their entirety of their backlog, their Patreon, everything multiple times. And so much weird crap happens to me. And I just chalked it up to, oh, maybe I'm just weird, right?
Yeah.
I am from a very small town in the Midwest where even an inkling of anything that I experience, not by choice, just happens to me automatically. I'm pretty much a witch. I'm from the devil, and I am going to rot in hell.
Yes.
That's very common. Yeah.
Like I chose to do this, right? I did not.
So when was your first weirdness?
I always remember being odd, and it used to drive people nuts. People would be like, how the heck do you always know? I always got what I wanted, and it made people angry. And they're like, how? And I'm like, because I know what they want. Because I know what they want, I know how to do what I need to do to get what I want since I was like a toddler.
That's your empathic powers, right?
Yeah. So it was useful, I guess, for a little bit. I don't do that as much anymore, but I always would know. I would walk into a space, it'd be like, nope, I need to leave. I would always know when something was up. It was almost like I knew things were coming. I would throw a fit, I guess. But it's like I knew something was going to happen, and I was responding before it happened. To which it got chalked up to I was just a horrible toddler. So that kind of stuff happened like my whole life. And then when I was 15, I got I call it kicked in the face. I got smacked in the face by the paranormal, whether I liked it or not. Right. I was not one of those kids that went to slumber parties and Ouija board or anything like that. No, like I was too busy getting my ass beat by a Bible to do any of that. So, I was forced to go to church all the time and do all this stuff. And, I thought I was going down the straight and narrow or whatever. And so we had a house that was on family property. So the whole property, my family's had it for generations. I think it was like my great grandma and grandpa built the original house that was like back a little ways from the road. And then when they had kids, one of them made the house that I actually ended up growing up in. And so they were really close together, and they had this like oval kind of driveway, which I thought was really interesting because you have the main road and then it kind of branches off like an oval, but there was a circle of trees. It looked intentional, although the trees were old enough to have it not be intentional. It was really weird. So I'm wondering if they maybe made the driveway around the trees. But to me, a circle of trees is generally significant, whether you are into fae or something. It just seems like an odd positioning. And you had to go past my house around the little, loop-de-loo to go to my aunt and uncle's house because my great-great-grandparents, I mean, I got in there before they tore it down. And I remember going upstairs. I mean, I walked into this old rickety house as a kid because my mom was like, oh, if you want anything, go get it, whatever. So, of course, my mom took us because, well, we were all little. And I walked into this place and I just remember being like, holy crap, something is in here. And I was like, I don't want to go upstairs. I don't want to go upstairs. I was like, why? And I was like, there's somebody up there. She's like, everyone's dead. No one else. Like, no, there's someone up there. I was like, I can't go. I can't go. So I ended up, I had to go upstairs because she went upstairs. And it was very, it was very awkward. It was very heavy. Not as much as I would say with a person that you would sense. And anyway, so they bulldozed that house down and my aunt and uncle built a house.
Right.
So we're in our house. My mom needed something for my aunt and uncle's house. And I'm 15, I got my permit and I'm like, yeah, let me drive the car. I'm literally driving like 200 yards. I'm not going anywhere. Done a gravel driveway, whatever. I still got to drive the car. So, it was cool. And I get in this van and it's, super dark out. And I'm doing all this checks because I'm a loser, my mirrors. I'm like, I'm literally going 200 yards down a gravel road, but whatever. I'm going to check my mirrors. And I go to stick the key in the ignition. And so when I looked down, it was this instant feeling of like every hair on my body stood up. Like it was at attention. I had like goosebumps and it was almost like I felt like I couldn't breathe. It got so heavy in the car. And it was just like a very deep, almost what I would have probably said now that I'm older was like almost like straight depression in the car. Like you dropped a depression bomb in the car. And I was kind of just looking up and I noticed next to me in the passenger seat was like a black figure. It just looked like a person at first, just like an outline. And yeah, I was used to, you see something out of the corner of your eye, you look, it's gone. I mean, that happened to me all the time. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to look. It's going to be gone. And so I turned my head to look and it doesn't disappear. It was so funny to me for like, when I think about it, it was almost humorous because it literally looked like it was sitting in the seat, not like it was standing in the van, like through the van. Right. It was literally sitting. You could see it go over the seat, like its legs. Well, it didn't have legs, but what legs would be, went over the seat. And it was sitting almost like it was turned towards me, like looking at me in the driver's seat. And it had an arm that was like stuck out over like the dashboard. Like it was waiting for me to turn and look at it. Right. And it's like almost like it was daring me, right? And
can you describe it?
Yeah. So when I looked, okay, if you've never seen the movie Spirited Away, there's a character called No Face. All right. It's kind of like this big, like blob, essentially, at first. And it was similar to that, only if you took its mask off, there was no face. It was the same shape. And although it looked black to me, it had these big, like where the orbits were, where its eyes should have been, was the best way I could describe it is what I would imagine like a black hole. Not just that it was blacker than black, but almost like it was sucking things in. It was so dark that it was getting everything in.
Was your impression that it was male, a male entity?
So I did not get any gender. So this is why I say I think it was a demon, because usually, I can kind of close my eyes or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's a man, it's a woman, they're tall, they're short, I can kind of picture what they look like. Right. This thing, there was no humanity to this thing. I mean, nothing about this thing made me like identify it as a human at any point. It was more an it than anything.
Right. Did it ask you for anything?
So it didn't speak to me at all. It, like I said, so it had the hand out. What really grossed me out is though, if you have ever seen Jim Carrey with the Grinch, and he has his green fuzzy fingers. Okay, so they were long like that, and like but his were not fuzzy and they were just black, just jet black. And they looked sharp. And so it had it all stretched out on the thing. It was just like, looking at me. So I turned and I'm looking straight orbit, and there's nothing else to do any type of facial expressions or anything. It's just basically mass and giant sockets that are like super creepy dark. And I sat there for a good couple minutes at least, just staring at it because I'm going, okay, what the heck is this thing? Why hasn't it left? I'm trying to figure out what's happening to me. And then I'm like, I know I'm awake. So I'm trying to, register all of this. And after a couple minutes, I could feel kind of almost like I was bogging down, right? Like the energy was draining, and
it
almost
you a little bit, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, man, this is really weird. I was like, I'm just really tired all of a sudden, and then it got to where it almost felt like if I couldn't see anything, but if you could imagine something was like deep in your chest, like way down. When people are like, I love you with all my heart, like it's way down. There's a feeling, if you don't know, I'm sorry, because you should, because it's a good feeling sometimes.
I know it.
But
I know it.
yeah,
I know
like
it very well.
When you care about somebody so much, there's a feeling, it literally is inside your chest so far deep that it doesn't seem like it should exist, but it is there. Okay, whatever that space is, felt like something like something like lassoed it, right? And it felt like it was like pulling something from me, like deep into me, like it was trying to pull it out. And I was like, okay. And that's when my brain just kind of like, something's not right. This should not be happening. It's something, whatever it's taking, you need. And so I just closed my eyes and I, looked back at the steering wheel and I was like, you have to leave. You got to go. Get out of here. I was like, when I opened my eyes, you better freaking be gone, And then I waited a second and then I peeked one eye out and I looked and it was gone. So I thought it was done. It's not done. There's more.
Uh-oh.
So I assume it's done. And I'm like, okay, that was really weird. And so then I just, start the car, drive off. I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I never respond properly to these situations? And
blindside you, right?
Yeah. And what's weird was the whole time, when I say close, I was in the driver's seat, it's in the passenger seat. I could have reached out, smacked it if I wanted to, but I never felt scared. I never felt really threatened. It was literally more of a, well, that's weird. I wonder what this thing is in the seat with me.
Really, I would have been terrified.
and I would have thought I would have been too, right? I in my head, I'm like, why was I not scared?
I had a similar thing happen when I was 23, and we have time at the end. I'll tell you how I dealt with it. But it's important of how you deal with it at the time.
I think so.
Yeah. And I was just chill. And I was just like, okay, you got to go. Get out of here. No big deal. I go to my aunt's house and I start coming back after I get the stuff. And so her driveway comes down and then it splits into that oval, right? And if you keep going straight at the very end where the main road is, which was a county road, so we're like in the middle of nowhere, I say it's a street light. It's more like basically a giant stick with like a metal trash can lid with a light under it. We're old school around here. But anyway, so it's just like at the very end. So right before I go to turn to go back to my house, this thing comes out from underneath my van. So it appeared to be on its belly like a lizard. And it was, the best word I could use is like scurry, like it was like scurrying. But what creeped me out was all of its limbs were bent up like a grasshopper. And so it's like doing that. And as it's going, it's heading away from me to the light. And it's almost doing that like Samara glitch in and out thing as it's going. And it goes all the way to the post and it goes up the post. But instead of it like crawling or whatever, it's more like gecko style. And so like almost like it's sticking and it's still keeping the same shape with elbows out and everything. It shimmies to the top. When it gets to the top, light explodes. It exploded.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what the? Oh, wait. I don't know if I can cuss on here. Beep. What the beep? Okay. And I just sat there. And I was like, okay, am I hallucinating? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? So the next day I was like, I ain't going now, but tomorrow I'm going to go check out that light. They had to send somebody from the county to replace the light. It literally did explode and I watched the whole thing happen. Wow. But then after it just was like poof, I didn't see it again until beginning of this year. And that's been like almost 20 years,
Wow.
give or take. And even when I saw it this time, I was in bed and I was just laying there, because I was just hanging out. And I guess maybe I fell asleep. I don't know. And I opened my eyes and I knew everything was black. We have blackout curtains. Everything is dark. But when I was looking, I'm like, well, this is weird because it was almost like there was just enough like blue-green hue of light around me that I could see where my dresser was, the TV, everything in there. I could see like the outline. And I was looking around like, oh, this is really odd. I wonder why, like, what's going on here? And about that time, all I saw was the arm, and I recognized it because it was those long fingers.
Those fingers, yeah.
Yep. And I was like, there's nothing else in the world that can have those, right? And I had my sleeve kind of rolled up on my t-shirt. I had short sleeves. And I saw it come in from like the side of me. And what's odd was when I was looking at it, again, I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel threatened. I literally was like, oh, hey, man, long time no see. What's up? Like I was seeing a friend from high school.
Wow.
And it stretched out and it got to, it stretched out and it's this long pointy finger and it took it right down the middle of my bicep, just very, very gently. And 3 times, just real slow. Almost like
Always
if I wanted to hurt
three.
you. Yeah. If I wanted to hurt you, I could, but I'm not going. And I could feel it. It felt like a steak. Like if you were to take a steak knife and just real gently put it on your skin, that's what it felt like. I mean, it was sharp and it was almost like, okay. And it was like 3 times and then gone. And then I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I went to work that day. So my car wouldn't start. Battery was dead. My phone battery was dead. Everything electronic that was in a vicinity of about 10 feet from me that day died. I went to work and every computer I touched quit working. I was like, I can't touch anything. I came home. I saged the holy moly out of this. And I was like, you have to go if you're going to cause problems. You're not allowed to be here.
Yeah.
If you're going to cause problems. I was like, if we're just
See you
chill.
in 20 years.
Yeah. I was like, if we're just chill and it's no big deal, I'm like, fine. I said, but if you're going to be causing problems for me, you got to go. And then everything started working. It was fine.
Yeah, it's attached to you.
Yeah.
I'm
wondering if it's generational.
I know from personal experience. I've had similar things happen to me, and the entity is the same, but it has been with me in different manifestations for over 50 years.
Many years, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've heard of demonic attacks and the scratches. They leave scratches on people.
The
and
negative.
It's always 3.
Yep. And this one was very gentle. I mean, it was almost like it was trying to be like, okay, like I need something from you. Last time this was a little weird. Yeah. I'm just letting you know, like, don't move. I'll be gone soon. It's okay. Like everything about me, I was just like, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. All right. Yeah, never once.
You got a symbiotic neutral that I call it, that it's basically, that it needs energy, it needs something from you. But
and I'm wondering if it's the weird, like the fact that I am different, that's why it comes to me, because there's 4 kids in my family and no one else has seen it. Not even once. So I was like, I wonder, I am the weirdo, of course. And I'm wondering if that's it. Now, I remember my mom one time, she kind of sort of told me a little bit of, at one point, she was in the same house on the other side of the house. And she told me that one time she had sleep paralysis. Only mine wasn't paralysis. I felt like I could move. I could do whatever I wanted. I just didn't. I was just like, okay, cool, whatever, do whatever you want, and then you're gone. And she said there was this big black figure over her, but that's all she told me. I didn't get details. She did. So I'm wondering, maybe it's generational, and that's why I recognize it, because it's part of me, I guess. Maybe that's why I didn't feel threatened, because I'm like, okay, like, cool, whatever. And it was like, you're mine and I'm yours. And I just refer to him as my demon. Well,
That's
so I'm just like, oh, it's just my demon. He's fine.
Do you have
everybody's like, what?
A well inside the house?
We did have a well outside.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, because they're frequently associated with wells, the demonic presences.
Oh, well, it didn't stay with the well if it was a well.
In the metaphysical dictionary, they define a demon as either being a god or a devil. and it can be either positive or negative. And just saying the word demon doesn't necessarily mean that
Yeah.
it's there to like suck all your life energy.
Yeah,
It can
everybody's
be a
like, "Oh my
symbiote.
gosh, yeah, that's got to be so bad." I'm like, "It's fine. Like, it's cool. It's whatever."
Yeah.
Now, when it's around, it has. I'm assuming it's this. I have one spirit when it comes to hang out. It's not very nice. It refers to me as a hag. I am the hag, which is, well, it's interesting to me because I also get a lot of the witch. That's what they call me, the witch. And I'm going, well, if it's something that's really old, the hags and the witch was kind of interchangeable. So maybe it's just a really old spirit that's just calling me what it. And then I found out that apparently there's like some witchiness in the family, and I was like, that explains a lot.
Yes. I'll buy that. Yes.
I was like, this makes sense. That tracks. That tracks. It's okay. And then I started thinking about it. And I'm going, things that I was taught when I was little. I'm going, that is kind of witchcraft, isn't it? It's like, oh, okay.
Did you feel enervated after? Did it make you tired?
This time, I mean, it was a lot shorter. And it's almost, I felt like instead of it trying to directly get anything from me, maybe it was just following, like, hey, maybe getting it from you was a bad idea. I'm just gonna, I'm here. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna kind of piggyback on you. And maybe that's why all day everything was draining. Maybe.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Yes.
Pulling the energy out of everything.
Yeah. Like
A
last time we
slow
tried
bleed.
this, it didn't work out. So let's try that. But I need you to go so that I can come with you.
Maybe like you're a conduit for it to pull energy through, or from
like
the
it needs,
you were touching and
because it was stuff that only I was touching, like anything that or if I was close to it. So almost like it needed one foot in the grave and one out, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My mom was a medium, and she was an automatic writer, and she had a famous saying. She would say she'd been searching for a happy medium her whole life, as far as like, she said, but she's never found one.
Yeah. I know. I was like,
meaning, of course,
like, it's so it's very, very weird. And that was my first ever actual experience. And then in the same house, I saw two like full ass apparitions in the same house. Those scared me more than the demon did.
Was it daytime or was it nighttime?
Most of them were, one was later, maybe like 10, 11 o'clock at night. The first one was probably around the same time, like 10, 11. It was kind of late, which is why I was like, I don't know why the hell my mom needs me to go to my aunt's house, but whatever. And so I went. But the last one, he happened at like 3:30 in the morning. Because I couldn't sleep. I have insomnia. So I sometimes can't sleep. And even when I do sleep, I always seem to wake up around 2:30 or 3.
Yeah.
Every single night. It's great.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks, guys.
In Chinese medicine, they call that the liver time, when you're the most creative and the liver's the most active. But they also call it like the witching time, too. When you're most open, too.
I thought midnight was the witching
The
hour.
liver is supposed to be the seat of the soul. And it's also when you're most open, too. About between 1 and 3 in the morning. It's usually about when you're most open.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get up, and I mean, they wake me up, and sometimes I wake myself up. It's just a great time. I thought one was very sweet.
I'm very curious about demons. I don't have a full understanding of kind of what they are. I mean, we know ghosts are, frequently we can identify them as people who have passed on, and they're frequently attached to a location.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's a ghost, yes.
But the demonic presence, it seems to attach itself to a person more. And
I got to show you guys something. Speaking of attached to a person.
Yeah.
I was recording, and I am pretty sure it looked like something was trying to take me over temporarily. It didn't work, obviously, but I mean, it was like one half of my face was being weird. And then as soon as it stopped, my light right behind my head on that side started going off. It was freaking creepy as hell. I was editing, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. And like, you could see the other person that I was recording with, same software, everything. I'm like, they're fine. And it's just me. Yeah. And then it just goes away. And I mean, I stopped recording. Stopped editing. I was like, nope, we're done. I was like, I gotta walk away. I've got to digest this. But it was intense. So I'll have to send it to you because I know I don't want to like stretch out too much time looking for it. So remind me and I'll get it for you afterwards. Insert
we got
here.
About 15 minutes left, I think, right?
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
about 15 minutes. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, so that was my
Steve's
first
mother was
one.
Steve's mom was attacked by an imp, she called it. We talked about it before.
Interesting.
We always do a little segment with our personal
Yeah,
experiences.
this is a midday occurrence that happened in 1983, and my
wow.
my mom was not a person at all to make stuff up. Having gone through World War II in England.
Oh yeah.
And at this time, this was the house that my dad and I and my brother were building up in the woods in Sonora, California, and the whole family, at least the family that was there, my brother and my sister that were at high school age, and my mom, they were all sick at the same time. They just felt like energetically weird.
And
they just felt sick.
A little bit nauseous.
Right. So it was in the afternoon, and my mom had been taking a rest, and she got up out of bed, and she was standing up, and she said that this black entity about 1.5 to 2 feet tall jumped on her back, and it was making these hideous
it was clawing at her,
right, and actually bit her
Weird.
neck, and clawed her neck, and she ended up for the rest of her life after that with what's called a scrofula on the right side of her neck, which is different than a goiter, which is thyroidal.
It's like an infection.
Okay,
under
so
the
it's an
skin
infection. Of course, the doctor said, "Oh, it's cat scratch fever," but it was no cat, and she was telling
us demon scratch fever.
She was saying, "Get off me! Leave me alone! Get off me!" And if she was able to get it off her finally, and then after she basically said, "No more of this," then the illness ended in the family.
Yeah, everybody felt better, but she described
it
as hideously ugly, and and in our family we had this spirit guide in Steve's family.
We talked about it on my show. Yeah,
right. So the family would experience, they would do this automatic writing thing, and they would get messages from old Glegley. And
well, my mom would, yes.
And they would, she would like go into a trance and write out these messages. And then Stephen's brother saw O'Gligley as a tall gray alien at one time in his room.
1982.
Yeah.
And so we associated it all with the alien abduction phenomenon. And I think a lot of connection to the demonic world comes from that because, they paralyze their victims. They're pale. They come at night. They take steal DNA in the form of blood, or
And my uncle's life was saved in, I think it was 1950 or 1949.
So they would both prey upon the family and protect the family, like a farmer protecting a prize cow that he needs.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, we are cattle. That's what we serve a purpose.
Yeah, I think so.
Except me. They didn't much like me. They threw this one back in. They're like, oh, we can't do what we want to do with her. Let's throw her back.
It's like with Stevens, he gets abducted and they don't want me. I'm a subpar individual to them, I think,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know how many kids I actually have.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, and I struggle with all of the weird crap that's happened to me. I really struggle with that encounter because I'm like, was I dreaming? Was I not? And I don't know why it is so hard for me to hold on to that experience as something that happened to me. I don't know why, but I struggle hard with it.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
Sure. Do you have?
Let's go bananas.
You mentioned that you're empathic, so you probably have had some precognitive type of things.
Oh yeah.
That, knowing the future and that ends up happening.
Does it come to you in flashes or in dreams, like it does for Stephen?
Okay, so I've got this really. Okay, I haven't even talked about this on my pod yet. Okay. Now, typically it's dreams. They happen at dreams. As far as anything going, it's normally, and it usually has to do with babies and death, which is ironic because my philosophy is with life comes death. So when there's somebody expecting a baby, I always expect someone to die. Close. Someone will die and then a baby. I don't know why, but it just seems, for whatever reason, that's what my brain gets, and that's what I see. Even
One
if
in,
it's
one
somebody,
out.
yeah,
The
it might be like,
balance, yeah.
oh, my friend's uncle, dies. And then I'm like, oh, but my cousin's sister or my cousin's husband's sister has a baby. I'm like, okay, in and out, keeping the balance, keeping the balance. I've had some, they're typically very vivid. And I've heard some people talk about how theirs are, where they're kind of like a spectator watching it happen, but that is not how mine are. Mine are very much, well, I did have one spectator one. I had one spectator one. I can't say all of them, but most of them, it's like I wake up and I am in their body. I know that I'm not me. I can see me, but I can also see, like, I look at them like, oh, these aren't my hands, or oh, I'm a boy. Like, oh, this is weird. Like, wait a minute. This is strange. And it's like I'm with them. I've had most of them are between like 24, 48 hours. Not a whole lot of time, but not a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like, kind of in the middle. I've had one where, I was there and I felt the death, and then I woke up, and as soon as I woke up, like a couple minutes later, the phone rings, and I was with my mom, and my grandpa, they were telling her, because she was next to kin, first on the list, that he had passed away. So as he was dying, I was kind of there dying with him. It was weird. And I knew I was him. It was just really strange. But I always try to like get people's attention. I don't know why. It's like my reflex is like, hey, we need help. I can't breathe. Help me, help me. And no one can ever hear me. No one can ever see me except I did have one, which is somebody who was very close to me. And it was the longest one I had. It was almost like 5 days ahead of time. And they were not necessarily coherent when they were states away, like 2 states away from me. And they weren't really coherent whenever we were on like a video chat to say goodbye, which was awful. I'm not good at that. And even though he wasn't really all there, he specifically asked for me and knew that I was there with him. He's like, I know you're here. He's like, I knew you were going to be here. You're going to be here. And then he told me, it's okay. I'll see you soon. And then like 20 minutes later, he was gone. And then 2 days later, he came and saw me in a dream, which is, it was really cool. And we got to sit and talk and all that. It wasn't anything like, oh, tell so-and-so. It was literally, he's like, I'm good. I'm doing all these things that I want to do. Look at all the stuff that I can do. He goes, I am happy. I don't feel bad. He's like, I'll talk to you later. And every now and then he pops up, but that's, I guess, one perk is I can talk to all the people that disappear.
Yeah, that is a nice perk.
So it'd be nice if I could harness it.
Is this the near-death experience you were talking about?
Oh, no. So,
no, that's totally different. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was 18, birth control, everybody. Birth control. Take your own. Make sure you don't miss it. Wrap it and take the birth control. Just saying.
Yes.
When I was 18, I got pregnant. I was still in high school. And, we bucked up and we're like, okay, we're going to do this thing. We got engaged. We're like, we're going to end up getting married. We're going to take care of this baby. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we're going to do this. And like 2 or 3 months later, I started having a lot of issues. And like, I knew I was pregnant because I went in and I'm like, there's something in here. And they're like, what? They're like, oh no, it's too early. And I'm like, I am telling you, there's something inside me and it is not me. I'm like, I could feel it. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. Not only because even before I should have ever in a million years known, I'm like, there is an energy in here that does not match mine. And it was very uncomfortable at first. Like, it was very awkward. But anyway, I was at work and I started having, like, I bent down to pick something up and was in so much pain I couldn't move. And I have a very, very high pain tolerance. Eventually, I got home. We called the doctor. They're like, oh, you're fine. It's your first baby. You're just worried, blah, blah, blah. This is Friday afternoon. So they're like, oh, we'll
It's
set you up with
always
a
late Friday when
yeah, and they're like,
and
oh,
then
we'll
have to
set
go to
you
the
up.
hospital, right?
Yep, they said we'll set you up with a follow up appointment Monday afternoon. I'm like, okay. So they're like, in the meantime, just chill. And I'm like, okay. So I go home and I'm still like, I'm walking to the bathroom, I'm going to do stuff, but I primarily was just laying on the couch because that's what they told me to do. And I was just scared to death. And I knew something was very wrong. And I kept trying to tell them, I need to see. They're like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I wish people would just listen. And
Don't you?
so
Yeah.
Monday afternoon comes around. I'm still walking around doing my own thing. They drive me over there. I walk myself into the office. I'm in the waiting room. Like I'm just functioning a little slow. But by the time I got in there, I didn't even look human. My skin was gray. I'm pale anyway, but I mean, this was I looked like a freaking alien. And they put me on there. They put the little ultrasound thingy on and they hit a button. And the moment they hit that button, the nurse does not say anything. She literally drops the thing and runs out the door.
Ectopic pregnancy?
Yep. And it had,
Oh no.
yep, it had grown in the tube so large that it actually exploded inside. So I was hemorrhaging internally since Friday afternoon. The doctors explained to me what was happening and that I should have been dead after 72 hours. For those of you not counting, that's 3 days. And we're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I was a day. I should have been dead already.
Yep.
So then
Yeah.
they're like, okay, emergency surgery. Literally, they called over. They were like, I got pushed ahead of everybody else. I
Yeah.
couldn't even go to registration. They were like, you just go directly there. As soon as I got there, I'm in a wheelchair and like I have nurses on both sides popping in IVs and doing all this stuff like as we're going down the freaking hallway.
Right.
And they wouldn't even let me ride an ambulance. It was 5 minutes from the doctor's office is where the hospital was. And they said, we can't put her in an ambulance because it's too bouncy and she will bleed out before she gets there. And they told my mom, drive as fast as you can. Don't slam on the brakes. Don't hit anything and don't hit a pothole or she'll die. I was 5 minutes from the doctor's office. So they rushed me over there. And at this point, so they're telling me all the stuff that's happening and I'm 18 and my mom's got me. And they're like, well, this is what we're going to have to do. And I said, no. They go, excuse me? I'm like, I'm not signing that piece of paper. No. My mom about shit her pants because she can't force me, right? I'm 18. And I'm like, nope. If the baby goes down, I go down. I said, because I don't want to wake up and realize that the baby's gone. I said, I don't want to do that. I said, I will bleed to death. I said, I refuse to do it. Next thing I know, again, IVs while I'm already there. A nurse come up behind me and stuck something in my IV. Apparently, I signed the papers, and they went to surgery. To which I apparently didn't. I flatlined once on the table,
Right.
and then when I woke up in the recovery room. Well, it wasn't even the recovery room. It was the in between because you have to be so far good before
ICU or something like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me go to recovery until I was awake. So I was up. And I was like, I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. I was like, I'm just going to take a nap. And at first they're like, oh yeah, just get your rest. And I'm like, okay. And I thought I fell asleep. I temporarily woke up at somewhere that was not the doctor's office or hospital. And then next thing I knew, like, I'll go through that in a second. But next thing I know, like, they're shaking me. Machines are beeping. Like, all the machines are beep. And they're all panicking, you know. And then they shook me awake and got the paddles, all that fun jazz. And then I'd be like, I'm so tired. I just want to go back to sleep. And then I would think I'm taking a nap. Come to find out, everything goes off. Yeah, I just died again. And I just kept going back and forth. And eventually they're like, do not let her sleep. You have to keep her awake or she's not going to wake back up. And that time I go to sleep, quote unquote, and I wake up. Now, what I like to tell people is this was in 2008. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It was like November, the end of, 2008. And Stranger Things did not come out until what, a few years ago?
Yes.
Way after 2008? Okay.
Yeah.
Running
So
down that road.
Yeah. So I like to disclaimer that because a lot of people are like, oh, and I'm like, no, this happened to me at least 10 years before Stranger Things was even a thing. But when Elle goes into the deprivation tank and she wakes up and she's in just black, right? It's black everywhere. The ground almost seems wet, but she's like walking on it and she's searching for whatever this monster thing is. that's where I woke up. I woke up and everything was black. It was almost cold, but I feel weird saying it was cold. It was almost like when your bones ache because it's cold, but I didn't feel cold. But it just felt almost like my bones were just getting so brittle they were just going to explode. And being an empath, I feel everyone all the time, right? So I'm constantly feeling, even if it's the damn dog, I feel the dog. I'm never alone. I'm never alone, ever.
Right.
But when I woke up, it was nothing but darkness everywhere I looked. It was that achy feeling. And that was the only time I have ever been alone. There was not a trace of any other person around me ever,
Must have
like
been
anywhere.
nice, actually, kind of, like a relief.
Well,
maybe.
I got to thinking about it, but one of my things is I am scared to death to be alone. I don't like feeling alone. I don't know why. We're not going to get into that. That's a whole nother podcast. Thanks, Dad. You're a dick. But it was just very weird. And so I was just kind of walking around like, oh, there's got to be something, right? So then I started getting nervous and everything. It was just so empty. There was no emotion. There was no temperature. There was nothingness. And I can't even put into words how weird it was. Well, that thing must like it. But I mean, nothing, no air, no anything. It was very weird. And then once I started like walking around a little bit, I never saw anyone. And it's almost like I heard someone, but not externally. It was like in my head, I heard someone.
Mhm.
They're like you shouldn't wait a minute. You shouldn't be here. You've got to go. You got to get out of here. Like, you're not supposed to be here yet. You need to leave now.
Right.
And then it's, I was, in and out, and then I'd be back and they're like, no, you've got to go. If you don't get out now, you're not going to be able to get out, and it's not ready yet. You've got to go.
That's a very powerful experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next thing I knew, I was up, but it was like, whatever it was like, you're not supposed to be here yet.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I've heard that report from several NDEs, where they're ordered to go back, or and told, you're way early. What the heck are you doing here?
the next year, actually, ironically, so I ended up getting, again, wrap it up, ladies. And it only takes one time. I literally had a one night stand with a man in the cemetery. In my defense, he was a grave digger, so he worked there, so it wasn't as weird as it sounds. But
weird.
Yeah. So then I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And then it was, hey, there's more than one, but they're not where they're supposed to be. So then they sent me to the cancer ward, gave me shots that break up tumors, fill in the blank, everybody here, and then sent me home and said it'll take care of itself naturally. Every 2 days, I had to go get blood work done so that they could call me and tell me how not pregnant I was. They called me on the due date of the first one to tell me I officially wasn't pregnant with the twins. But that day was a bad day. I literally, and get help, people. Don't be like me, okay? Because you're not going to get as lucky as I did. I literally went and found anything and everything that I could shove in my mouth that was in pill form. Then my roommate had a slight drinking problem, post-military, and he was in there. So while he was gone at work, I took everything I could find and then chugged as much alcohol that I could physically fit into my stomach because I did not want to wake up. But I went to sleep again. And when I woke up, I was somewhere beautiful. It still said I was and I got to see all three of my kids. And I knew who was who. Yeah.
Wow.
It was beautiful. Absolutely. It was green. Sky was blue, but they were like, and I'm like this. And so that's what brings me to, what if there is, people are going to hate me, but what if there is no generic heaven, hell? What if we all have our own? And when they say it's not your time to die, it's because your space is not ready. But when your space is ready, then you die because you now have a new home.
You know what?
Makes
I'm
sense.
not too far away from you on that one either.
Yeah. We're
Because-
sort of reincarnation people, but there's definitely like a holding area in between where you're kind of born again, into this life. There's a waiting room, so to speak. I think.
I was raised a-religious, so I was lucky that I didn't have the construct of
Yeah.
I was lucky that way.
My breathing
I'm
child.
sorry, but we're getting really close.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
we are getting
time
close.
here. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, because I'm gonna have to try and get
That
around
was a good
this
way
problem,
to. That was a good way to end the broadcast, though. I don't want anything to be lost,
Yeah.
in translation.
Well, I will throw one more thing out here because you'll get a kick out of this.
Okay.
The one kid that made it, literally he wasn't supposed to be here, but he made it, looks so much like my first baby. Because when I saw him, they were about the same age. Looks so much like him that when he was not in my house and I had somebody recording across the table from me, they looked up and freaked out because they thought my son was behind me watching what we were doing, but he was an hour and a half away. But they look so much alike that and we're related. She grew up with him. She thought it was him.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So before we go tonight, did you have anything happening in the near future you want to plug, so to speak? Something going on?
I really currently don't. I am going to try to do a Christmas Eve spooky stories live is what I want to do. And then I'm really pumped though about New Year's Eve. I'm getting a couple of the gals that I record with together, and I'm not going to give too much away, but it's going to be a New Year's cryptid cage match countdown. And we're doing it live. We're doing it New Year's Eve. So that way we can get it all on there.
Be New Year's Eve.
Just don't invite Hulk Hogan.
It's literally just think March Madness bracket meets cryptids, and that's what we're doing.
Got it.
So cool.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's that Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy podcast, and people can find it all over the place, all the different formats.
Oh yeah, I am on all social media: Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. If you're on the Patreon feed and you're a subscriber, I also have a Discord. I'm going to be doing some Q&As on there for some of the tiers. But yeah, I'm obviously on Patreon. I'm on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify. Last I looked, I got a list of things I didn't even know existed, but people are listening to me on it.
So wherever you get your podcast,
anywhere you listen,
pretty much where you're going to find it.
If you can't find me, send me an email.
Send
me an email because I'm curious as to where I'm not. I'm everywhere.
Maybe in the Ozarks somewhere,
Yeah.
Permeating the world.